Aliyah set out to provide medical aid to those afflicted by the epidemic, with Jihan accompanying her. His health deteriorated rapidly, and despite his condition, he managed to surprise her with a heartfelt birthday gift. She was deeply touched by his gesture. As she examined the locket, Jihan pointed out that it could hold a photograph inside. Aliyah admitted she had noticed and planned to place a picture of Denise in it, remarking on its beauty. Jihan suggested she wear it immediately, but she declined, placing it beside him instead. He implored her to indulge him just a little, but she remained firm, insisting that her priority was his well-being. Jihan, weak but insistent, asked, "Aren't you already taking care of me?" Aliyah reassured him, "I appreciate the gift, but right now, we need to focus on lowering your fever." Just then, his phone rang. When she glanced at the screen, she saw it was Sadaqat. Jihan, visibly irritated, urged her not to answer, but Aliyah reasoned that avoiding the call would only provoke more persistence. Jihan was unconvinced. Aliyah answered. On the other end, Sadaqat wasted no time demanding updates on Jihan's condition. Aliyah informed her he was unwell and unable to talk. Unfazed, Sadaqat insisted on coming over immediately, pressing for their location. Aliyah refused, explaining she needed to care for Jihan, but Sadaqat grew more agitated. "Of course, he's sick. This is what happens when you drag my son to that disease-ridden place. Isn't the hospital enough?" she snapped. Aliyah calmly explained that the illness was highly contagious and that Jihan had already been unwell before coming. Frustrated, Sadaqat abruptly ended the call. Aliyah turned to Jihan. "Did you hear what she said?" He sighed. "I told you not to pick up." Aliyah countered. She would have kept calling all night. "I warned you not to come, yet you did, and now everything falls on me." Jihan admitted. "I came because you did." She looked at him sharply. "So now you're blaming me too?" He shook his head, turned away, and mumbled, "Forget it. Don't wear the necklace. I'm going to sleep." Meanwhile, Ajmal was arrested. His family was thrown into turmoil. Seeing Nara among the bystanders, he seethed. "She must have reported me." He glared at her. "How did you know?" The police restrained him, dragging him away. Shaheen's mother was beside herself with rage, lunging at Nara, but Shaheen intervened just in time. Shaheen confronted Nara. "How did you find out?" She met his gaze, unwavering. "I overheard Ajmal conspiring with that monster," she said, pointing at Demir. "And you were part of this crime." Shaheen's voice was sharp. "Don't talk to me about justice. You broke my heart." Sadaqat interjected, commanding Shaheen to stay silent. Nara's eyes burned with fury. "You tormented us for years, and now your family's true nature is revealed. My daughter did the right thing." Before long, Sadaqat's men attacked Shaheen. Nara tried to stop them, but her efforts were in vain. Suddenly, Kaya arrived, stepping in to break up the assault. Nara attempted to help Shaheen, but he pushed her away. Kaya turned to Zirin, attempting to reason with her, but she dismissed him coldly. "Leave. You and your sister have destroyed our lives. I never want to see you again." Kaya hesitated before throwing Sadaqat a final glare and walking away. Nara ordered Kadir to follow him swiftly before turning back to Sadaqat. "Are you trying to make me regret my decision?" Sadaqat smirked. "Don't waste your time regretting. You did what you had to do." Nara stormed off in frustration. Shaheen's mother turned to him. "See, all of this is Nara's doing. She was never worth it. Your father is gone, and he will never return." Demir arrived, nodding. "She's right. He won't be getting out, unless I intervene." He turned to Shaheen. "What are you going to do? Will you let this slide, or will you take action? Just give me the word, and I'll rally the tribes to back you up." Back at the village, Jihan stirred and asked Aliyah, "Why did you choose to be a doctor? Was it always your dream?" She nodded. "Yes, since childhood. My mother, Caroline, supported me every step of the way. She lived in Canada." Jihan lowered his gaze. "May she rest in peace." He then asked, "If she hadn't stopped you when you were young, when she saw you holding that gun, would you have become a smuggler instead?" Aliyah's expression darkened. "Don't throw that word around so carelessly. Doesn't everyone already know?" he questioned. "If they did, I wouldn't be here now," she answered coolly. She shifted the conversation. "And what about you? If you hadn't followed Baran's path, what would you have done?" he hesitated before admitting. I wanted to be a musician. She blinked, surprised. He chuckled. You didn't expect that, did you? Aliyah shook her head. I saw you play at the wedding. You were incredible. He smirked. But you were too busy running away to really listen. She smiled faintly, brushing the moment aside. Enough talking. You need rest. As he dozed off, she checked his temperature. His fever had subsided. Slowly, she reached for the necklace and clasped it around her neck. Meanwhile, Mina received a call from the medical team. The roads were impassable for the night, and they had to stay until morning. She assured them she'd send another team the next day. Then she inquired about Aliyah. The response was immediate. Aliyah was with her husband, tending to him. A storm of anger rose within Mina. As dawn broke, Jihan awoke to find Aliyah sleeping beside him. He smiled softly. The peaceful moment was shattered by the arrival of none other than Sadakat. She barged into the room, mask-clad, her voice dripping with sarcasm. Good morning. Let's all praise the Lord for his mercy. Jihan bolted upright. Mom, why are you here? You're unwell. You shouldn't be exposing yourself to infection. Sadakat dismissed his concern. If you hadn't chased after her, I wouldn't have had to come looking for you. Jihan tried to pacify her. I just had a slight fever, and Aliyah took care of me. Aliyah shot him a sharp glance. Don't worry, I didn't poison his four. Sadakat scoffed. Oh, he's been poisoned ever since he married you. Her gaze fell upon the necklace around Aliyah's neck. Where did you get that? Jihan responded. I bought it. Sadakat's eyes narrowed. Why? Aliyah answered before he could. For my birthday. Sadakat sneered. It doesn't suit you. Jihan ignored her and took Aliyah's hand. We're leaving. Aliyah nodded. Let me check on the patients, then we'll go. Elsewhere, Ajmal confronted Shaheen, blaming his obsession with Nara for the family's downfall. Zirin pleaded for him to stop, but Ajmal insisted she marry Sadat. Shaheen resisted, but Zirin, exhausted and resigned, finally agreed. Fine. I'll do whatever you want. Zirin visits Nara and requests a conversation, which her husband overhears. During their talk, Zirin expresses her intention to stop Nara from inflicting the same harm on her brother that she did to their father. Nara denies any such intentions, but is reminded by Zirin that she failed to report their father's actions. Nara defends her decision, claiming her father was a criminal and that Shaheen couldn't have helped him. She reveals that Shaheen's behavior stemmed from her refusal to marry Sadat. Nara is taken aback, and Zirin asserts that she will not let anyone in her family suffer. She announces her decision to marry Sadat, prompting Nara to caution her against it. Zirin, undeterred, walks away despite Nara's pleas to stop. Nara's husband mockingly commends her for reporting Ajmal, referring to her as a true daughter of her mother, which leads Nara to slam the door in his face. Kaya urges Kadir to leave, but Kadir insists he cannot abandon him. Meanwhile, Shaheen sits alone, reflecting on Nara's and his father's words. Overwhelmed, he answers a call from Demir, who asks about his decision. Shaheen instructs him to gather the clans before hanging up and screams into a pillow to contain his emotions. Zirin arrives at Kaya's residence, but her bodyguard blocks Kadir from approaching her. Kaya holds Zirin back as she tells him that she left prison hoping to speak with her because she once professed her love for him. Zirin coldly informs him of her engagement to Sadat, inciting Kaya's fury as he challenges her choice. Sadat arrives and confronts Kaya, warning him to keep away from his wife. In a fit of rage, Kaya threatens to kill Sadat, but Kadir restrains him, allowing Sadat to attack Kaya and knock him out. Afterward, Kadir takes Kaya back to the palace, where Jihan wishes to speak with him. As Sadakat prepares to talk, Nara interrupts, claiming Jihan will handle it. Kaya shares Zirin's words with Jihan, accusing them of coercing her into testifying against him. Sadakat tells Kaya to accept reality, stating that Zirin chose her own path. Kaya blames her for turning them into enemies, and warns that Ajmal won't remain silent if he learns about the child. Jihan silences her for Aliyah's sake. Confused, Aliyah asks about the child, but Jihan dismisses it as unimportant. Nara leads Aliyah away, while Jihan advises his mother to maintain control. Outside, Aliyah questions Nara about her mother's statement. Nara claims ignorance, thinking it's an old issue. Just then, Aliyah receives a call summoning her to the hospital and departs. Jihan urges Kaya to move forward, noting that Zirin has made her decision. Later, Jihan inquires about Aliyah's status, and Nara informs him that Aliyah considers it an outdated problem. Jihan heads to his room, where Aliyah tells him she's going to the hospital and reiterates her questions about the child issue. He brushes it off as a family matter. Feeling left out, Aliyah sarcastically remarks that she forgot she wasn't part of the family before leaving. Shaheen and his family greet them, and there's a tense atmosphere as they arrive. Zirin is visibly anxious and troubled, while Kay seems particularly upset and worried. Jihan returns home and advises Kadir to keep an eye on Kay, warning that he might do something impulsive. Kadir reassures him, but Aliyah bursts in, frustrated, and Jihan follows her. She suggests boiling potatoes for Kadir, and he rushes to the bathroom, prompting laughter from her. Aliyah is in a particularly irritable mood, and as Jihan enters, she asks him to show her how he made that dreadful drink, to which he explains he had coffee with her. She responds sarcastically, asking if he knew Kadir was the one who told him that. They share a moment, with Aliyah expressing her frustration about anyone asking her about her plans, saying it would end badly for them. Jihan, agreeing, tells her it's a good idea to think about it. Aliyah accuses him of being jealous, and he playfully denies it. She points out that his behavior contradicts that claim, and he insists she is his wife and should not be so casual with others. Aliyah retorts that he shouldn't be like that with Aker, arguing that it's not his personality. He questions how she can know his character, claiming he's not a bad person. Aliyah gets angry and storms off to his room, and he follows her, asking where she's going. She responds that she needs the bathroom, and he reminds her it's in the other direction. Meanwhile, Jihan heads to the office and inquires about a spy, stating he doesn't have any leads yet but has a plan. Aliyah's name comes up, and he reassures her that it's an old issue. He warns her to be cautious, as questions will arise if the truth gets out. The conversation shifts to Aker's father, who is mentioned as having left, and Jihan reveals that he'll try to convince him to return as well. They all gather around a table, and as the discussion continues, Jihan asks about Kay, explaining he sent Kadir to call him. Amidst the chaos, Zirin feels stressed, and Mahmoud informs Shaheen that the women need to go out to shop for a dress and ring. Shaheen agrees, and as they plan, Kay arrives, causing disruption by breaking the cars of the women. The sudden noise leads to a fight between Kay, Shaheen, and Zirin, with Shaheen asserting that he won't allow this marriage to proceed. Jihan intervenes, forcibly taking Kay away while urging him to consider the situation. He argues that violence won't solve anything, emphasizing that Zirin won't accept Shaheen as her brother. With tension still high, Jihan tells his mother that her actions are inappropriate and advises her to gather herself, warning that everyone will regret the consequences. Aliyah then confronts Jihan, asking if he thinks Zirin genuinely wants to marry Sidit. He dismissively states it doesn't concern him, but Aliyah fears losing her job because of this situation. They discuss their plans to spend time together, and Aliyah expresses hope that they can maintain their friendship despite the pressures. Jihan receives a call from Shaheen, asking to meet at the stadium. They reminisce about their childhood, with Shaheen recalling their close bond. Jihan suggests